This is the case of John D. White, or better known as the Killing Pastor, Part 3. If you want to know more about this case, please continue watching.
You are watching Roll a Mile in My Shoes TV.
In the early hours of Halloween, after drinking several beers, White walked into the mobile home of Rebecca Gay, the daughter of his fiancée, in the same trailer park where he lived, and entered the dwelling. White attacked Gay, hitting her in the head repeatedly with a rubber mallet until she was unconscious. He then tightened a zip tie around her neck, strangling her until she was dead. Gay's 3-year-old son, Conway, was in the next room of the trailer. White then dumped Gay's lifeless body in a ditch behind some pine trees about a mile from her mobile home. And this kind of shows you that no matter who you are, if somebody this sick, even somebody in your family, if they are this sick in the head and, like he was, you are not even safe, and most of these people who kill people actually have wives, children, and in some cases fiancés, because unfortunately this sick little evil troll here, he had a baby on the way when he killed the last young lady. And I think that is really sad that these people actually live, I guess you could say, 2 separate lives. But here, Mr. White, he was living 3, because he was a pastor and he was a family man and also an undercover serial killer, if you ask me. But that's just my opinion. After disposing of the corpse, he then returned to Gay's trailer and looked after her son. He then dressed little Conway in his costume and then proceeded to drive the little boy to the nearby grocery store, where he dropped him off to his father in a grocery store parking lot. And unfortunately, this child was none the wiser that his mother had just been murdered by this man who was then dressing him in his costume and dropping him off to his father. And that is very unfortunate, because that shows you how easy it is for someone like him to commit a murder and then go back to life as if nothing happened. That is like so mind-boggling to me that people can do that. When Rebecca did not show up for work that day, her co-workers reported her missing. Police then searched for the young woman, and White made his plea to the members of his church to pray for her. And yet again, I say, how sick do you have to be, knowing that you killed this woman, but you have your congregation to pray for her? I mean, that is like sick. I can't stress it enough. The pastor was picked up by the police and taken in for questioning. Investigators tried to appeal to White and told him that her body would deteriorate and decompose in the cold, wet weather. A day later, John D. White, the killer and church leader, admitted to police that he had killed Rebecca Gay, and he gave them the exact location of her corpse. White told authorities that the murder had been fueled by pornographic videos that involved necrophilia. He added that he didn't remember if he had sex with Gay's dead body, even though he removed all of her clothes. So, I mean, even if he didn't remember if he had sex with this woman or not, that kind of shows you his intent maybe was to go back to the scene of the crime or where he dumped her body, and try to fulfill his sick fantasies of necrophilia with his stepdaughter as well as his victim. Like I said, when you have sick people like this, even though they may be in your family, you're not safe no matter who you are, because I mean, just like in this young lady's case, she wasn't safe from her stepfather or her mother's fiance, however you want to look at it, because she still ended up being one of his victims. Armed with his admission, authorities were determined to put John D. White away for the rest of his life, which they should have, and glad they did. In April 2013, the 55-year-old White was sentenced to 56 years in prison. Only 4 months later, on August 28, 2013, White was found hanging in his prison cell just after 4 a.m. And I think this is such a cowardly way to end your life, because you killed all these people. You killed all these people, yet and still you decide to take the easy way out and be a little punk for the rest of your remaining time here up until you killed yourself. So instead of serving your sentence, you decide to hang yourself. That shows how weak this man was, and the fact that he kind of knew that he probably would suffer in prison. And I think that he shouldn't have taken his own life, and I think that he should have manned up and face the consequences of his actions. But unfortunately, he couldn't, so he took the easy way out. Like most serial killers who don't have the balls to, serve their sentence. But of course, I guess he knew he was going to die in prison, because he was already 55 and they gave him 56 years. So I guess he figured he'd go ahead and take himself out while he still could. I guess I really don't know. But I still feel like he took the easy way out. Prison officials attempted to revive the convicted serial killer, but it was too late. White was dead at the age of 56, and he left behind a legacy of hatred and violence towards women. It was White's son, Gabriel, who may have summed up his late father's life the best when he said he was completely crazy until the end. And that's sad when your child has to say these things about you. And I'm pretty sure that, this is not the way this young man wanted to remember his father, because after all, even though his father was a lunatic and a psychopath, in many ways that was still his father. But I think he summed it up perfectly when he said that he was crazy all the way up until the end. Because like I said before, he was a sick, demented soul, and I think if he would have been caught a lot sooner, he wouldn't have had the chance to kill as many people as he did. But fortunately, he, was sentenced in the end, even though he took his own life, because he chose to take the easy way out. But that's neither here nor there. So if you guys like this video, please don't forget to leave me a like, share the video, leave me a comment down in the comment section below, and let me know what you think of this case. And please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.